Hey guys, welcome back to MidScale. I know it's been a while. Things have been pretty busy for me, and about to get more busy as more things opening up in my state. But I wanted to do another video. This is the next two videos I'm actually going to do are going to both be Arbor Hack based. It's been one of my most fun doctrines to run because within the sort of like 20 to 100 scale, they're very efficient and extremely adaptable. We recently added Demoses to the fleet instead of just running only Zealots because it gives a mixture of kinetic damage in there too, and that's really important with the prevalence of how many Munins and like Claymores and Scimitars that are out there. And it's been, excuse me, I had to cough. It's been really good. We've only had one really bad whelp since we've had this fleet out there, and it's easily been one of my most used doctrines. So what's going on here is there's a dead terrorist Serb fleet, and they appear to be helping someone's, I don't even know who, someone's structure. And so it turns into we're going to be the aggressors on this hostile, I think it was an Athenor, and we're going to be fighting a Serb fleet. In what I run with my mids in these zealots is double tracking computer. A double tracking computer is really important because with double tracking, you can hit out to 130 against Serbs, and the average heavy missile Serb out there is about 130. There's some more extreme fits in null, which can shoot to like 180, but the way I saw it is that the likelihood that they would be max range fit would be pretty low, and then also without defensive bubbles, if they're greater than 150, then we'll just warp to them anyway. So I felt pretty good about not running any E-War, even though what makes this fleet generally so good is your ability to be adaptable with E-War. So we got about three, six, about 9 Guardians there. We actually did not. We have while we do have a latch, we didn't have a single Hugin in this fleet, which that might seem kind of weird, but all of our like our damnations have paints, so I felt good about being able to apply, and that also I felt that as long as the Serbs position themselves right, we will never be within web range anyway. So I didn't feel like a Weber would really provide us a lot of value here. So we're gonna get the video going here. Go just a little down on
Excellent
volume.
for watch lift damnation.
I'm assuming value you're going to be anchor.
Yep, for DPS. To be honest, Logi, you're gonna be in range no matter what. So like, as long as you keep your speed up, it's fine. Bridge guys, bridge. So let's talk about what that comment there for a second. When I say the Logi can be at whatever range they want. When you're fighting against a heavy missile comp, no matter where your Logi are, they're going to be in range. And yeah, you could say that the flight time increases, meaning the damage will be applied a little more slower than if they were closer. But in the grand scheme of things, I am more concerned about our Guardian fleet remaining within rep optimal, which is about 50 on a Guardian, in addition to them just focusing on keeping their speed up, because that is going to be what is going to keep them mitigating damage. So Guardians, just worry about keeping your speed up and we'll be fine. Everyone anchor up, wait. Alright, so when you're siloing into low, unfortunately you don't get any dictors to kind of chop a fleet with. And then when you're fighting a defensive force on a timer, you pretty much always assume they're going to be tether. If someone is not using tether as a defender to set up the fight, then they are likely doing it wrong completely, unless they're doing like a NATO fleet where they're just at a ping, take a shot, then warp off. If you are a defender, you always start from tether, no matter what, because it allows you to get your speed up, allows you to get your anchors up, and then you call for people to lock something, you call people to get up their cap chain, and then you call for links. And that way everybody gets the links, everyone's at full speed, and you're already positioning to where you want to go. So for example, let's say I'm here. I am 70 off this Cerberus fleet. These Serbs can start micro warp driving while tethered to get further away from my standard, because right now I'm actually in standard range with double tracking. So in Serbs, when applied to in standard range, just get almost volleyed by Zealots. This was about 37 Serbs, and we were in about, I think, 24, 25 Zealots. You know, I'm actually gonna get up the battle report real quick. Let's see, Aisa. I hope my keyboard isn't destroying anyone's ears. find. Yeah, this is about 35 Serbs, and we had definitely fewer. We had some Demoses too. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, actually about an equal number of hacks. So it is actually about equal numbers. Like 10 seconds before linking. AB's on, guys. AB's on. AB's on. And this really surprised me. I didn't call primary right away because I just assumed these people were going to be tethered. Now, in defense of dead terrorists, this was a random group. This was not a dead terrorist structure. Sometimes when you're dealing with a bad phone who's on more of an inexperienced side, they don't understand access lists too well. So I'm very understanding that these guys just were maybe caught by surprise with their pants down a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, okay, now we have to micro retrieve because they just entered in." However, if I was these people and I didn't have access to tether, I would just likely give a fleet warp right now. Or you can micro drive a line to something. That way, the Lachesis will likely not have the ability to point someone. But I think I would just do a cold warp, even though there's a Lachesis there. I would rather have more faith that we wouldn't get anyone pointed, because we also have to get links up in order for the Lachesis to even be in point range anyway. This is pretty far, so I would trust a cold warp and then get the fight started by doing an on-grid warp to either a Scepter or a Cloaky at 120 to get the fight started, or even 140, even though it's out of your own missile range in the Serb fit they had. The reason for that is it allows you to get your velocity and your links up. And also, this was pre-nerf to the Serbs, so they had their MWD bonus on the hull still. Lock and fire in the Serb. Lock and fire in the Serb. Then yeah, it just hit me. Link up. Lock and fire in Claris. Lock and fire in Claris. AB's on. AB's on. Lock and fire in Claris. Second. I should be calling Aurora right now, even though he's within standard range. The reason why is that he's about to get out of standard range. You don't want to have to worry about people swapping ammo types. It's more important for your DPS to remain constant than it is for it to be perfect. Because overall, if you're trying min-maxing all these little crystal changes when people are dual boxing, it's more. Being reliable is more important than being optimal. Secondary broadcast. Because people just won't be optimal. Another Serb. Secondary, another Serb. AB's on, guys. AB's on. There's a couple of these guys who are just not MWDing. Firing cats. Put drones on the structure. To be honest, this fight won't put dead terrorists in the greatest light. Lock them up. Firing Kellen. And I think this fight's also going to show what it looks like when someone just has zero transversal. Because we don't have any webs in this fleet. It's just I got a couple 2 RF paints. I'm on a perfect painter with skills. Firing Kellen. Secondary after that is another Serb broadcast. When you're broadcasting targets like this, when they're kiting away, you always shoot whatever's closest to you. Fire and Lee. Secondary none. I'm completely fine shooting Aurora right now because it's going to allow me to have instant switching without needing to have people worry about switching ammo. And I just want guns going. That's all I want. How's the first broadcast doing? I think we're going to hold, right? Alright. Lock up Striker. Red cycle, firing SLY. Keep that Serb locked up. Fire an SLY. Okay, fire an SLY. So we lost our first Guardian. It's kind of not too surprising. These were heavy missile Serbs. They weren't rapid light or anything. I think rapid light Serbs would be a lot more terrifying for us to try and deal with. Lock up the Serb. Switch to multi. Fire in that Serb with multi. Locking up Logi. I'm getting a little bit of damage. This guy's gonna get alpha basically. Secondary is SYL. Good job. Fire back on SLY. So I'm trying to get away from doing what I just did. You heard the spam clicking? That's like a Chesser style thing. I really like Q clicking in a line. And we'll have that in my next episode. I feel like that conceptually allows me to manage transversal a lot better than just this double clicking crap. SYL was standard. Secondary after that. But because these guys are also turning, our transversal still going to be good. We should be able to hit him. Even though we lost a Guardian, I still want to stay on grid. Another fleet just showed up. These are Tachyon Oracles. I'm assuming these are the random defenders because they were siding with Deterrors the whole time.
We lost one Guardian and everything's holding for now. Once you broadcast early.
Fire in the Serb. So when you're losing Logi and you're able to break them, it's more important that you quell DPS and continue to lose Logi rather than focus on their Logi and try to match it. And the reason why is that if you lose all your Logi and you've destroyed like 80% of their DPS ships left, well then you're still going to continue to just destroy whatever DPS ships are left. So I really dislike their position of trying to go for Guardians right now. I understand they might have to if they don't feel they have the damage to break a Zealot or a Demos, but and Zealot Demos kinetic resist is pretty high, so I guess it is tricky.
Secondary after that's a semi.
But their positioning is also kind of.
Give them some heat. Give them some heat.
Oh yeah, with that tracking hits, they just get nailed.
Secondary Mala.
I should be calling, even though they're in X-ray range. You have to remember the people behind you are these. This guy is actually probably like between 45 and 50 kilometers away from the majority of our fleet here. So even though he's within X-ray range for some, it's better to be in standard range for all. So I should be calling a switch to standard right now.
Semi.
But we got good transversal. Should be an easy. At least I would think this would be a pretty easy kill with the number of hacks we have.
Fire Mala. Fire Mala. Everyone on Mala.
You really don't have that many Logi overall. 5 semis is just not much. Also,
another semi.
kind of an important. You see this blue line? That's my new movement line, and the reason why this makes sense is that these guys are almost. It feels like they're all kind of following this guy. So I've been inkling that this guy is now going to start going up here, and it's also going to allow me to have good transversal on my second guy.
I don't know. Secondary ace. Fire an ace. Fire an ace. Fire an ace.
This is kind of a mistake to go for more Logi. I really don't like it, especially when you lose one Guardian, because it's like what I said earlier. Just shoot DPS. You don't need to kill Logi in order to win the fight. So I should just be shooting Serbs right now. I understand they're very close. Additionally, if you shoot too many Logi, you will have a tendency to scare FCs into leaving. So it's a pretty poor idea to shoot Logi right now, even though they're right there. Right in X-ray range.
3 ships.
That's a lot of damage we could do to them.
All right, secondary Hugin, secondary Hugin, secondary Hugin.
Now they've got really good transversal on us.
Alright, he basically hit.
Without a Weber, shooting this Hugin who's going this way when we're going this way is bad. This is like the worst possible transversal circumstance. However, he's in a micro-archive ship, and Zealot Demos tracking is pretty good at 50.
Finish him.
However, the problem now is that this Hugin, I'm just gonna let it go. This Hugin,
Red cycle swap to the Hugin. Red cycle swap
it's
to the
had
Hugin.
so much time to
Aurora,
broadcast
guys,
for reps
Aurora,
and
Aurora
heat
on the
his
Hugin, Aurora on
hardeners
the
that
Hugin.
this Hugin could likely
Aurora on the
live.
Hugin.
Also, we
Secondary
could be
that's Harp Navy,
kind of
secondary
standard.
Harp Navy.
Another thing, these guys are going in a straight line like this. We're going straight up like this, which means that anybody in the back is going to get real close to us because we're going to be intersecting them. Also, I wanted to go for the Harb Navy because it is the easiest ship to shoot while they're going on this good line of transversal. So I went for the easiest frag I could get because of the transversal that was what was available to shoot. Because it's gonna take time for like a whole. It's gonna take about 7 seconds for us to adjust transversal.
Standard, swap to standard, fire on Harp Navy. Standard with the Harp Navy.
Now, this is a mistake. Right now, I should be Q clicking and then clicking out to here. That would give us really strong transversal. I really should be Q clicking more. It's a mistake not to.
Zealot down.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that a Zealot went down. We've been doing pretty good so far. We still have a lot of Guardian numbers up, so.
Keep standard in, standard in. Fire in the Serb. Aurora on that.
That's a mistake. I should be going to this guy in the back. Or this neutral right here. I would say this guy, and then this guy, then these guys in the back. And then now, funnily enough, we're in their middle. This is their semis. So now we are in the middle of their semis. I have the total opportunity to blow away all of their semis and could do so likely in under 45 seconds. However, if I do that, it kind of ends the fight a little too early and would likely lose us a lot more Serb kills. However, if we were like ultra tryharding over a big timer fight, like yeah, these guys, they'd be getting their socks knocked off.
Secondary semi. Lock them up quick.
Though we get pretty good.
Swap to standard. Fire in.
That's a mistake. I should be in multi because they're about to burn into multi range.
Standard.
It'll still work, but
Secondary after that is none. Secondary is none.
None's a really good choice. See this up click is terrible. I should be Q clicking down this path right over here. Like this is actually terrible anchoring for me.
Get you, Logi.
We should have this. They're running out.
High grade, save me.
Fire none. None.
So interestingly enough, this Serb anchor, this semi-anchor over here is now going away from his semis. Semis only have a optimal of about 30, and sure they can rep to 50, but it doesn't mean it's good. So this is kind of a panic moment for them.
None serb, none serb.
Multi-
Secondary after
I don't
that,
know if they
another serb
realize
LP.
the nature
Multi.
of what's going on.
Latch is taking damage.
He's holding.
No, not taking damage again.
Fire in the serb, IP.
And then
90.
this would actually be a lot easier in our favor now that the micro drive bonus is gone. This stuff will be getting blown away right now if
Secondary
this
serb,
was
broadcast.
without the MWD buff.
When this guy dies, you're gonna switch to standard. When this guy dies, you're switching to standard.
Reps on free guys. Overload.
Standard guys, standard. Standard on Big Richie. Standard on Big Richie. Secondary broadcast, another serb. Evergreen.
So I picked something 20 kilometers off. It's fine to do, but I like to visually look over here instead of just use my overview. Unless there's a priority target I need to find, like a Lachesis or a Logi or something. But I really should just be clicking from here. These guys are going to have the worst transversal and are also going to be closest to us. And also will be intersecting because we're going to be going this way. So these guys are going to be going along the same line. And they're going to be far away from their fleets. So it's kind of a mistake to just broadcast from overview. It'll work, but it's definitely not optimal.
Ingo, is your Sino alive? Can someone get an apostle ready?
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm just lost.
Secondary
Throwing
broadcast,
a
secondary
Sino.
broadcast. Lock him up quick.
We are starting to feed a little bit.
I don't see it. I don't see the D-scan linking again. Secondary serb. Lock him up.
You lost another zealot, by the way.
Alright. Fire and bring in.
So I think it's like 2-3 zealots we've lost at this point.
Alright. Secondary broadcast.
We're still doing good, and we've destroyed a lot.
How are you? Oh, never mind. They moved. Never mind. It's fine.
Still don't have an impulse ready to bring in right now.
If we have a Sino, sure.
So I'm thinking for a fact because we are kind of starting to lose some amount of people. This is in jump range of our home. Additionally, wouldn't be too out of the ordinary to expect Shadow Cartel and EUTZ to mid some treads. So you do have to respect the possibility sometimes. And then also Shadow Cartel is now discovered to be on the other side of a gate with a Tengu fleet. I recently fought Shadow's Tengu and Loki fleet. It's 100 men. And I really didn't. They also have a ham refit they sometimes use. I didn't think they would go hams. However, hams would likely be the more threatening thing to us. I suspected to fight 100 men.
Alright, fire in the serb. Do it. If we have an apostle.
Does anyone have an impulse?
Yeah, except or Nanasu.
Tattered will do it.
Go standard on phase. Standard on
Absolutely
phase.
twisted Logi.
Are you ready
I call
for
it standard because he's getting away.
Fleet.
Now you're seeing just how much of a mistake it was not to have a Weber. Weber right now would lower this guy's transversal so much, and he would already be dead.
Unlock. Fire in the simi.
Why'd you keep overloading? From
As we can see, something important. You got to get used to looking at these models. We didn't have someone with a D-scan available for whatever reason. I don't know why it's fine, but I see heavy missiles. So it's heavy missiles. I'm assuming it's their 100 MN comp.
Alright, we can deal with those.
I feel with the facts, it's not too bad. What are they going to shoot?
Go ahead.
Kinetic into
Unlock,
the
unlock,
Demos is,
fire
good
Eld,
luck.
fire Eld.
Working on
And
it.
then the Zealots have pretty good kinetic
Fire in
resist
simi,
too.
Fire in the simi, Eld.
Then with
Secondary, another scimitar.
another big thing, another huge thing, Serbs and Tengus do not have an application bonus on the hull, unlike a lot of other HML comps out there. So while there's a lot of advantages Serbs have, they apply their damage poorly, very poorly. So I feel pretty decent about our damage mitigation with ABs and skirmish boosts and all that.
Something.
The secondary
Tengu gang,
tethered.
Tengu gang is landing on
Back
Isaac
on.
Gate in
Alright.
Anka.
Back on that.
All right, so we see they're one jump out.
Great. Secondary simi. Secondary simi.
So
Fire
this-
in the
I'm
simi.
gonna Razu with
At this point, I'm just kind of trying to get whatever frags are most convenient for us to get. I'm not shooting at anything in
Fire
particular.
and Hal.
Though I should be
do
calling
damage.
that
One-
guy
one tax
secondary. Let's see if I do it.
We're not going to commit any other caps.
Orchestra reps.
Secondary Hugin.
Hugin's an important.
With Aurora. Heat on this Hugin with Aurora.
So this is an important call. If they coordinate primaries with target paints and webs, they have enough to alpha a zealot. So it's kind of
Again, you should be double
mission critical right now in order for
Just
us
almost
to
committed this week, right
break
before
this
Shadow's
Hugin.
about to come in.
If you are this dead terrorist fleet, you have this guy pre-locked at
Secondary
all
broadcast.
times
Another Serb.
by Logi. No exceptions.
Fire in the Serb. Aurora. fire in the Serb. Aurora.
I guess I don't
I
know.
want that fax in. Let me know as soon as he jumps in.
It's already in.
Alright,
He's been in
alright,
for a while.
That should be in standard. It'll
Fire
still
in
work,
Serb.
but
Secondary broadcast, another Serb. I don't think it went through. Secondary Silu is now primary. Val's about to be a primary, I think.
yeah, it looks like
Middle,
they're trying to
Shadow
prime me now.
fucking gets in.
Oh, it's the oracles actually. Yeah, the oracles are
File-
shooting me the
file
beam
an
oracles.
X5. File an X5. These guys are so fucking slow. Like, why isn't Shadow already in here?
Yeah, I say some things in here. We'll see if I end up editing them out or not. I generally try to stay neutral
So,
in these
unlock,
videos.
unlock.
But I don't know why Shadow isn't in here, and the fight's already ongoing. Shadow Cartel and Dead Terrorist, they have a long history together. I'm not going to say I understand it, nor do I care to. However, they work together on almost everything, in any big fight. So I'm kind of thinking that
There's a
Fire in the
rapier
Serb, fire in the
that's
Serb, fire in the
jumped
Serb.
from
That they will be
knockout.
blue.
Fire in the Serb, fire in the Serb. Everyone
and
on the
local's
Serb,
starting
everyone
to
on the Serb.
spike.
Zaphod.
Yeah, there was just I'm guessing there was just a lot of dual boxing in this fleet. Dead Terrorist is a very strong. I'm going to call them a wormhole group now, because they've been C2 nulling for a long time. I know they have a deep history in low sec, but
Cartel fleet number is about 50.
there's about
Someone
50
ping from Aurora.
T3s.
Let's
And we're down to maybe about 28 hacks.
We're gonna need a different bridger because it's not gonna be me.
Okay, so you have yours ready.
I'm logging in.
Alright,
Do you
there's
have
no
another sign-on
primary right
system?
now, so just shoot the structure.
How'd you repair your mods?
So everything's out of range right now.
That was pretty good, guys. Good job.
Dude, I
Oh,
held.
reshift
Right now
that,
I'm just
reshift
getting
that.
D-scans right
Reshift that
now.
as best you can now. It's 30.
They started with like 38 Serbs, and I mean, now it's down. It's well under half
35
that.
Tengus. I think we
You're
can tank
broadcasting the
this.
sign-out.
Actually, I want to rewind for just one
That was
second.
pretty good, guys. Good job.
Dude, I
Oh,
held.
reship though,
forever,
reship.
Oh my god.
Reship as best you can though. It's 30,
Just remember,
35 Tengus. I think we
You're
can tank
broadcasting the
this.
sign-out.
So 35 Tengus, it's a good volley. The only thing is that it doesn't get the application bonus, so it's not
Just
as
remember,
simple as
please,
it
man.
looks. If they
We
if
can be okay
everything
with
gets
this.
grid
This isn't
coordinates
that
its
bad.
fire
It
and they do
looks
really
bad,
well
but it's
painting
really
and
not.
webbing, then
It's
they can
really
break
not.
zealots.
This is
Probably
their
not
100
Demos's,
MN shit
though.
can fleet.
Subcap Logi, please make sure you're watching Twisted.
We've already deleted like 15 of the Serbs.
Want me to go red or?
No, stay in. Let's stay in. Unless it's a bit of a risk, but let's do it.
Can you X up Twisted?
It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Honestly, sometimes you just gotta risk a fax on grid. If Shadow Cartel and the Terrorists have a dread fleet handy, we'd be in a pretty shit spot. But that's just sometimes the risk you gotta take in order to get a good fight.
I don't know if it's an altar you mean.
Probably shoot the structure now. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot it.
Alright.
Check. I did just cross jump a rapier that just jumped into you guys.
They have an who's rapier because Shadow had an Arazo.
Thank you, Uncle.
Yep, there it is.
So
It's
let's
fine,
look at
it's fine,
this.
it's fine.
Let's look at this. What it is, the combat probe dust and warped at 100, or actually maybe 100 on the structure. When you're in a 100 MN fleet, you can't do this. You got to start further outside our weapon range to allow you to get your speed up. Alternatively, if there's no webs, you can kind of get like sometimes at like you can start at like 50 to try and get higher transversal quickly. But if you're gonna start at 70 to 100, it's the transversal is easier the further out you are. So it's kind of a very not favorable range at all. Additionally, they're very Tengu focused, and when you're Tengu focused, it's kind of a big EM hole and we're zealot based. So I think this was
Primary
just a
broadcast,
really
primary
bold
broadcast, Tengu,
warp.
fire in the Tengu,
and-
Twisted, can you lock out the program?
Check. Hold that.
So let's talk about this. I started by thinking about, all right, well, let's shoot the Tengus, but then these Serbs warp in at like 50, and that is like meat grinder range. So right now I'm thinking, well, we're still in range of the faxes. I know I can blow away Serbs. We've been doing it the whole time. Let's just quell DPS to try and get our guys to be able to tank again under
We're going
the
to the
fax.
Serbs. Load standard. Fire in the Serb.
The first
Standard,
broadcast
guys,
will
standard,
always be
standard.
the easiest because he has no transversal yet, and he's not at full speed when he's blooming his sig.
Fire in the Serb standard. Secondary, another Serb.
So
Broadcast
now
broadcast.
the
Loaded
first
out.
thing, as soon as the fleet lands on you like this and you want to go after them, the first thing you do after you call primary and secondary, find out what direction they're going and work on getting your transversal.
Coordinated primes. I think we can do it.
He got his ADC off unlike a lot of the
Swap
others.
To Aurora,
and then-
swap to Aurora. Oh, it's James.
Yeah, I got.
All right.
Logi got jammed too.
Okay. then we're just gonna rely on the facts.
So the next thing we discover is that additionally to being 100 men, they're jam goo fit. They were not jam goo the last time we fought them. Most low sec groups know that armor is the key to being adaptable, in that it's like I could have refit sensor boosters with the ECCM, but I was like, I kind of want double tracking, so a lot of people are gonna just remain jammed the whole time.
Swap to Djink. Swap to Djink. With Aurora.
Yeah, I'm not really managing transversal too well, so I'm kind of a no to myself for that.
All right, red cycle, swap it to Djink.
But this is the problem we now see, is that a large number of our DPS core, if Shadow is good, they're calling ECM on only Zealots, because we'd be shooting kinetic into Tengus and Serbs, which is pretty terrible.
Alright, you warped. Oh shit, can. Lock up this Loki. Everyone lock up this
Or
Loki.
I mean,
the Loki. X up if you're jammed in a Zealot.
by jamming our Zealots, then it removes EM damage coming in, and they have a high kinetic resist, so jamming the Demoses is a pretty poor
X
call.
up if you're
So
jammed in a Zealot. Fire and Loki.
yeah, I call X up if you're jammed. Look at the fleet chat. It's 4, 5, 6, 7,
Forward.
8, 9. This is like half the Zealots.
I got you, Killjoy. Don't worry.
We've got a fax in, so
Shooting a Loki's poor. Lokis have inherently higher EM resist. Bad idea to shoot a Loki. I should only be doing Tengus or Recons.
Alright, red cycle, swap to the tank.
Likely they Blops bridged, so they have access to like rapiers and Arazus for their support, which is what I would expect them to be in. So shooting those two would be good. Be easier to break than a T3. However, the transversal really isn't too bad.
Lock up the Serb. Lock up the Serb. Lock up the Serb.
When you're in situations like this, don't be afraid to swap early to get opportunity kills.
Swap to the Serb. Everyone swap to the Serb. Multi, blow them away. Secondary, another Serb.
Yeah, this kind of just happening.
Standard.
So
Standard on
if you guys are in a fleet in the middle of a fight, don't warp to the FC. Have your group set up a scepter with an on-grid ping, and then warp to the ping, and then warp to your FC. Because these guys are now warping from 30 AU away or something like that, and then they're going to be 30 kilometers from wherever the FC was when you initiated warp. Because when you initiate, you're going to that point in space at that specific time.
the next Serb.
Did you die, Sam?
Yeah.
Fire in the Serb.
So we lost, I think that
Just
was
trying to
our
lock you up. I
Lachesis.
hit it
Fire
as
in the
soon as
Serb.
it popped up for me.
So we actually have no
You
recons
might
right
have
now.
road long
No
range for
no
the-
support like that.
Serb, but- How far am I from the
Load
fax?
ECCM.
Looks we're 27. We're good.
If you died,
Secondary another Serb. Lock
Yeah,
them
so
up.
even though these Serbs are like 60 off us, there's still some that keep kind of warping in late like this. So those are just... Right now, I'm just focused on quelling damage.
Firing Gaiak Serb. Secondary another Serb. Lock them up.
User joined your channel.
I'm pulling back to the fax.
There we go. See, this Q clicking,
fire.
that's how you manage transversal. I was doing terrible for anchoring for the majority of this video. That Q clicking, and frankly, I'm not even doing it quite right. I should be going along this line, because they're going along this line.
Djik Serb. Secondary after that's this Loki. Secondary Loki. Lock up the Loki. Get more Zealots, guys. Get more Zealots on a bridge.
Yeah, 4 DPS.
There we go. See, this is
Okay.
the
Moving to
transversal.
side already. Firing the Loki. Firing the
That's-
Loki. Firing the
So
Loki.
even though we don't have any webs, we're still going to be applying
I have one
very
now.
well.
Firing the Loki.
Sign of, you have it
And this isn't one of the 100
Yes.
men Lokis. This is probably like some
warp
Lynx
it to the
Loki.
fax. Tattered sails. X up. Firing the Loki, guys. Firing Aurora on this Loki.
Want me to
Secondary
right now?
scimitar. Secondary scimitar.
I could have shot standard at him. So now they give a fleet warp.
Alright,
We
you
don't
just
have
do
any
the fleet warp.
Lachesis anymore, so they can just warp the fleet.
Yeah, do it. Just let it on land.
They likely didn't want to lose the Loki
Fire in the
siege.
scimitar, guys. Fire in the scimitar. Fire in the scimitar.
Those are the Tachyon oracles warping.
We actually might be out of range of these fucking Lokis. Alright, fire in the Serb. Fire in the Serb.
Hey, I got Scram on Jeanette.
A Tengu, unless you fit a lot of range mod, like a Tengu with no range mods, shoots to about 85 with factions. So the fact that we're burning away from them further increases the range that they have to go through. So they would have to be shooting maybe to like 130 right now in order to be able to hit us. So right now we're actually out of range of the Tengus, so we've isolated the Serbs a
Oh my
little
God,
bit.
I don't have
Broadcast
one, I don't
Jeanette,
have one.
broadcast
Need
Jeanette.
another sign up. Need
They're
another sign
warping.
up.
Alright, I don't think we have one ready.
was funny. It was funny. We actually had a frigate in here, just scram.
Fire in the
I can
fire in
I can
Jeanette.
look
Fire
at
in
that
Jeanette.
again.
Everyone on Jeanette. Everyone on Jeanette.
Alright, I'm
It's
gonna
not
mute.
Jeanette, it's not Jeanette.
No, it's a different. It's a Loki.
I'm gonna mute in a second
Shoot
because I
Jeanette
say
Loki.
something I
Okay,
don't want to be
Stand
on
on
YouTube.
again.
Yeah, just work with the facts and light it.
I can do anything.
And broadcast for reps too when you're out. Stand the Loki. Stand the Loki.
So I just did an approach on them. I'm gonna mute because I say something I shouldn't. I think my thought here is we'll shoot the Loki and let's get ready to work on our transversal. It's very hard to turn as this fleet. They kind of have to commit to going in this straight line. So I'm kind of like, all right, we'll start by getting closer to them. I should have went on the same line as them. That's kind of lazy on my part, but. And then this Loki kind of lands, or rather, this Serb fleet lands kind of far from their anchor. He's kind of out of rep range. I'm assuming this is a Lynx Loki, so it's a really important kill. Now I'm thinking, well, all right, this Serb's just landed within X-ray range of us basically, so let's finish this Loki, then work back on the Serbs. All right, I'm gonna guess that I'm done saying something I shouldn't.
Secondary, another Serb.
Standard range.
Standard.
Yep, standard's good. Standard will shoot to about 55,
Guy,
60.
Next
so.
target will be Aurora. Fire Aurora.
See, this is why you don't go from the overview. Always, especially against a microbe drive comp, where I should be targeting from here and not from here.
After that,
See,
secondary Serb.
that's what I should be doing the whole time.
Did you say they had a fax too?
I don't think so. The
Lord
Serbs?
Balgorn. That's the real question.
No hostile caps.
The oracles swarming back. I just love the
Nice,
tachyon
yeah, 3 rounds
oracles.
round.
I never played when they were a fleet. See that there we go. That's proper. That's proper transversal is when you use Q click, and these guys are going in this line, so I should be Q clicking down to this way.
If Guardians even help him out, please do so. Stay on the Serb, guys. They don't really have much logi. Alright, he's warped. Fire an intel. Fire an intel.
I should be adjusting,
Secondary
going
is
like
Lachesis,
this because they're
secondary is
going.
Lachesis.
Actually, they're now turning in a little
Lock
bit,
up
so it doesn't matter.
Lachesis.
Transversal's still good, and transversal is everything.
Bell,
You
can
should
I
have
move
Aurora.
Guardian Wing?
And what's another thing that's interesting is that these Tengus are likely still out of missile range for some of us.
Can I move Guardian? Or how many Guardians are jammed?
We have a
just mash
fax, so
members.
just hang out. Fire in the latch. Fire in the latch. Everyone.
So my logic anchor is telling me a lot of us are jammed. Can I just warp the Guardians off, get them in their own squad? The reason why I think this is not a good idea is that we kind of want the ECM to be on our Guardians. We have a fax. We're gonna hold just fine with the fax. So if we reset the jams, then the likelihood that they go on the Zealots is higher, reducing our DPS. And we don't really need the Guardians anymore. They're kind of just there to soak the ECM, and they do have an ECM script too, so like that helps. But even if you're having a lot of problems being jammed,
Standard.
it's still better for the
Standard.
ECM to be on the Guardians because we have a fax.
Gotcha.
Secondary Serb. Secondary Serb.
At this point, I think I'm just trying to move back to our fax a little bit and stay out of missile flight time range of these
JIO.
HML Tengus. And also another thing that's really nice, to give these two groups credit, it is harder to coordinate with two separate fleets than it is just to have everybody all in one fleet. So I'm actually managing perfect transversal on these guys while being out of range of this fleet. These Serbs should be falling back towards their T3s, but they're kind of going in this way. I cut in a little bit there because I'm focused on wanting to be near the fax, which is right there.
Next target.
Fire in this Loki. Fire in the Loki.
I was wanting to get the links off.
Western
Getting the
Jam
links
right
off
now
grid
really
is a
much
pretty big deal.
part.
User joined your channel.
Standard, guys.
Fax.
Standard.
I could be doing X-ray because he's about to burn into us.
How's the fax doing on cap? Doing okay?
But this Q clicking again, really good for the transversal.
Secondary is a simi. Secondary simi.
We already destroyed a lot of the semis earlier, so I felt good about being able to get this Loki kill.
Give him some heat. So we secure the kill. Nice. Fire in the scimitar. Standard.
And then I don't notice they get webbed for a
Webbed.
little while here.
Webbing.
That's a mistake.
Alright,
But
log up this Loki. Fire in this Loki. Swap to orbit. Orbit me at 5k. Zealots orbit me at 5k. Fire mine kill.
I felt fine. You'll lose a little bit of transversal doing an orbit like that. However, it was more important for people to keep their speed up to be able to mitigate heavy missile damage.
Aurora, guys. Aurora. Give him some heat. Give him some heat. Give this Loki some heat.
It's
Because
this
100
this
men
is
can
one of the
be
web
a
Lokis, so it's
warp.
kind of a big kill. He's also closest to us.
No, stop heating.
However, with all the ECM still in the Zealots, they have a lot of logi, so it is.
Lock and fire in this areas. Lock and fire in this
They're
areas.
also kind of outside their heavy missile flight time again, so it's.
No, he's too far. He's too far.
When the Denver
Honestly,
has
I don't think I
cross
noticed
leads.
this guy
Lock
right
up
in
this Tengu,
here.
everyone. Lock up this Tengu. Lock up this
Oh,
Tengu.
twisted. Sign up. It's there.
However, they're burning back into us again all of a sudden. So
Fire in.
they're burning in this line, which is pretty committal for them. So I actually should be going for a recon in here right now, as it's a squishy frag, and then also I should be trying to line up my secondary for transversal because I'm not gonna break the first guy. I shouldn't. I need to set up my
Fire in
transversal
way low.
first.
Broadcast the way off Tengu. Fire in way low.
One of my guys in fleet
Secondary Garnet.
just finds a T3 that's off
Oh, yeah, he
anchor.
is.
This is the dangerous thing about running T3s in a multi-box heavy group.
Blockable for me for some reason.
Yeah, I don't notice this for a long
I
time.
got you, Di. I got you.
I was at my
I'll
max
test it over
targets.
there. All good, man. All good.
So I just like
see it
log
too,
up like
but-
50 times over. I'm like, what is this? Am I jammed?
Alright,
You were
swap
already
to
way
Garnet.
in
Swap to
armor.
Garnet. Everyone on Garnet.
I was so confused.
This guy should die. He's not really moving in 100 men.
Yeah,
I
so
used
you
not
give
to
up
'cause I was
so
locked.
Secondary
much tank to be able to fit 100 of men. You have to do like 2 or 3 fitting mods to make heavy missiles and 100 of men and shield buffer work. So when you're not moving, you're losing your tank.
Secondary Tengu.
So you see just how when there's no
Alright, fire in that
transversal, you
tank.
just fall over.
Standard.
So I start moving this way. It's still incorrect how I did it, but I moved that way to
Just
start
cover,
lining up my
just
secondary. I'm going to be able to
Drag
apply
those
this guy
drones
no
down.
matter
I'm
what.
asking you. I'm
Trust
asking
me.
you.
25,
Okay.
30 max.
You guys are close, yeah.
Alright.
It's target behind him.
Fire in this Loki. Fire in this Loki. Standard.
Loki's in the back. That's why I went for
Secondary
him.
is another Tengu.
I should have gone for this guy
Loki's
first because he's not
primary,
moving.
He has drones on him, so if he drags them to me, I can kill them all.
Fire in Mind Killer, guys. Mind Killer.
That second tank just
wants me to go to him.
the facts.
Yeah, tattered, yeah.
He can smart one while that runs off you.
Alright. Well, either way, I'm gonna
Automatic
fall back to
guns.
the
Alright, man, I'm
facts.
used to people knowing my voice.
We're just gonna red sucker, guys. Red sucker.
I could go for this latch. Yeah, I
Look up
should
the
be.
Is this Aurora?
Serbs are coming in, looks like.
Also, I thought this Lachesis would be part of the Serb group because I thought that they came in by a Plops, I know, but
Yeah, slowly. We'll get him eventually. Fire in the latch. Fire in the latch, guys.
this latch
Face me,
is
fire.
not too hard of a kill. However, he's
Secondary Serb, lock him up. Secondary Serb, lock him up.
he is 100 immense, but EM hole is gonna be pretty
We
decent.
lost anything since the Sino one time?
However, a recon like this, they should know to pre-lock him with the Lokis
Don't believe so.
because the Lokis are the Logi in their fleet.
Eat.
Yep, stay on him, guys. Stay on him.
However, he's getting
sound
further
like
away, and I'm not really
Alright, red
focusing
circle,
on my
red circle, stop
transversal right now. You can see, you can even see in my movement, I kind of gave up on this Lachesis before we even called a switch. My eyes went up to these Serbs.
Swap
We
to
don't have
Serb,
good
swap to
transversal
Serb,
right
I'm
now,
broadcasting.
but we'll still track him at this range.
Aurora.
Aurora's a bad call. Should
Secondary
be
is
using
on Serb,
standard.
J-Lo. I think he might be ADC. We shot him before.
Ooh, big chunks. Also, again, these heavy missile guys are outside of their
Fire
flight
J-Lo.
time.
Fire J-Lo. She should be using Aurora right now.
Yeah, Aurora's good. And I'm
Secondary
starting to
Serb,
burn
lock
down
him
a
up.
little bit to match on transversal.
Who are they shooting, guys? Got you, got you.
Firing cats. Fire cats. Firing cats. Serb. Secondary, another Serb. Lock him up.
He ADC'd, but we're still actually doing some pretty
Scythe
decent.
burning at us.
This is something that actually takes a little bit for newer FCs to learn. When someone calls a ship is ramming you, that actually doesn't mean you need to shoot it. This thing is kind of useless in the grand scheme of things. Just ignore him. You've got other stuff to do.
Lock up the side. Lock up the side fight. Just fire in the side fleet. Just fire in the side fleet.
It's a waste of time.
You
And it
attack
also
him
had,
in a second, guy. Alright, he warped. Fire in intel. Fire in intel. Intel in the Serb.
Shooting the facts now.
Intel in the Serb.
so we call
you're-
they're shooting
you're
the
out,
facts.
right?
I didn't know this at the time. He was dual plate and an ancillary armor fit. I mean remote capital ancillary rep. So it's not too strong of a tank once you get out of your
Well,
paste.
I'm Ansel.
Okay. Is this structure anti-cap? I don't even know.
It has one heavy nude, one web, one disruptor.
Alright, we're fine. Everyone's good as trying a YDoc. This is
User
standard,
joined
guys.
your
Standard.
channel.
Standard when this guy dies. Alright, swap to
So
standard. YDoc.
we're getting
Great transversal.
Yeah, I just called that. It was really good transversal. When you're like we're both on the same line right now, so these Serbs are gonna go down like butter in standard range.
Secondary latch. Secondary latch.
Look at that. We're gonna rewind a second.
Standard, guys. Standard when this guy dies. Alright, swap to standard. Wydock. Got great transversal. You just get eaten alive.
Look at this chunking. This is what happens when you get perfect transversal, and you could even see it from earlier because we were been shooting Serbs the whole time. This is with some of our zealots still jammed out.
Right, firing the latch, firing the latch.
It's like we don't even have a Weber, and we're still just chunking this.
Do you still want us orbit or keep at?
Just keep range. Switch to keep range.
I forgot to call keep it range.
Fine.
Now they're burning directly away from us, so I do have to redo
Tengus has stopped.
my line.
Yeah.
They just
they're
switched
jamming.
cameras,
No,
they're
I'm still
jammed
jammed.
Also, we are keeping the structure paused with drones. I don't really care about the structure. The real prize is just shooting the ships.
Plug and fire in the Serb. Plug and fire in the Serb.
You saw my side there. I'm like, we're not really set to shoot a Serb right now. It's like we can do it, but we don't have transversal, and he's kind of far.
Secondary, another Serb.
But you know, we're starting to adjust. He's 80 seed, but we're getting our transversal fixed.
They're jamming a
He's
lot of
80
zealots, I
seed,
think.
I think.
It's still a lot of Tengus, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
For a while
Yeah,
now.
hit pretty
Alright.
hard too.
Let's get another fax ready.
So
Are you doing okay?
our fax pilot Twisted is he's likely out of pace right now, and he's just kind of losing HP. So we kind of need to get another fax ready.
Log up this Tengu.
Some
Log up
armor.
this Tengu.
I'll log it
Log up this Tengu.
In 100-man fleets, you gotta look out for the guys who mess up because they're great opportunities, and this guy is just
Firing that Tengu, guys. Firing the Tengu I broadcasted. He's way outside of their rep range.
this is if he doesn't warp, he's just dead. And it's also kind of hard to warp when you have 100 men, as long as your 100 men is on. So it's kind of easy kill. So even if you're shooting something else, I just priority switch to it and ignore whatever I was just doing.
Aurora.
Is the fax
We don't have the
turned off?
greatest transversal, but it's kind of okay. Our fax is at half right now.
Just get on a bridge on the faction fort on dog.
He's burning, kind of now burning into us a little bit, so the transversal's still pretty okay. With paints, we're still hitting. It's not great, but
Yeah, so it's double checking computer.
We have a Sino?
I have a
Stay on him, guys. Stay on him. Alright, good job.
Warp down to the fax then.
Firing this Loki. Firing this Loki.
bad call. Shouldn't be shooting Lokis. The EM resist is too high. In fairness, the EM resist is around 75 to 78%. So like it's not that bad, but a Tengu is gonna be around with their fit are probably around 60 to 65.
Warping Sino
got
down
15
to fax
seconds
right
left.
now.
So shooting Lokis, it's just a bad idea.
Firing the Loki, guys. Standard. Swap to standard. He's gonna.
However,
get
they're
range,
kind of
swap to
burning
standard,
at
firing the
us,
Loki.
so the transversal is pretty good. My hits you can see are coming across. There's no grazes.
Secondary Tengu.
Yeah,
Secondary
lock
Tengu.
up the apostle. Lock up the apostle.
Hey, Guardian Spirit is
My tracking is basically the same as a zealot. and
Guardians
this,
rep the
I'm
Apostle.
flying a legion. All
Logi, overload on the apostle.
Light it in 5 seconds, Jolly.
right, I'm gonna
Lock
rewind
up
because
the apostle, lock-
there's kind of some dramatic stuff that's coming on. Our fax is like almost dead, and he's coming out of triage before the fax are getting here. So now it's just on the Guardians to rep him before the fax
up the
can get in.
Hey, Guardian Spirit is
Okay,
spam
well,
up.
me-
Gotta join the fleet.
Guardians
You want
rep the
me to pop
Apostle.
Sino now?
Logi, overload on the apostle.
Light it in 5 seconds, Jolly. And
You
joining
got
fleet
another
master
faction
time.
in?
So now he's just being repped by the Guardians out of triage.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it.
Sino now, Jolly.
Alright, red cycle, guys. Red cycle.
I fucking can't. Fuck.
Move a little. Move.
Lock up this Loki. Lock up this Loki.
That voice you just heard, the I can't do it, and then the F word or whatever he said. Oh man, so when you hear that, it's not a range that each didn't have
You have to double
not
click
the
before you
not
sign
the
up.
isotopes
Stand-
or the stront, but whatever it is, the ozone to like the
Standard, guys,
Sino.
standard on that Loki.
Need a secondary Sino. Mine's not gonna work.
I'm warping down to Tatter right now.
Firing.
Thank God we had a second
Wait,
Sino.
my side, I think.
But I look at this transversal's really strong right now. I bet we can break this Loki.
I don't think he's gonna make it. Fuck.
Yeah,
Secondary broadcast to Tengu.
Tengu's not really moving, so it's an easy
Sono's green,
hit.
Sono's green, jump to
User
green.
Jump
joined
again.
your channel.
we got 10%.
Yep. Heat everything on the fax right away. Yeah.
Just broadcast your facts.
Swap damage.
Damn,
Swap
that'd be
damage to.
This
minion.
guy's another thing I haven't talked about before. Tech 3 Logi is horrendous on the range. You only get like a 10-kilometer optimal. So with fleets like this, if you get webbed off or separated, you're pretty easy to go down.
Fax call when
X-ray,
you're
guys.
repping.
X-ray.
So that was a really good line. Yeah, because this guy he's gonna start burning in like this. So
Secondary
we need to
Arasu, secondary Arasu.
We need to, if we can, now that we're getting our second fax in to rep this guy, if these guys stay along this line and we go along this line and we get set and they don't adjust, it's really easy to frag any recons and tengus.
Razu. We get really good transversal on these guys. They're right in our damage range. Fire in a Razu. Fire in a Razu.
We're still adjusting with our guys in the back, but this is about as terrible as it gets for this T3 fleet. I should not be shooting Lokis. Somebody smack me.
I'm not really holding this apostle, barely.
Okay. Can you just warp? Are you tackled?
Yeah, I'm tackled.
Okay.
So
Let him fucking waste on me, man.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna hold. Is the thing.
Yeah, I'm
let it go.
gradually.
Okay.
He's only.
Yes,
only
swap
blood
damage to
structure.
swap.
So again, always in a 100-man fleet, always shoot the guys off anchor. It's impossible for them to
Swap
get reps.
Mind killer guys. Swap to mind killer in the Loki. Mind killer.
Also, notice that other transversal thing. There we see they switch their line out this way, so now we switch it all along this line. Also, this guy's going to be adjusted to go along that line soon.
Secondary Tengu.
Two jumps.
Secondary
Four
Tengu.
jumps.
Relight the bridge.
Sino's dead.
Raj.
They brought in
Red cycle.
oracles.
Red cycle. Red cycle.
The oracles are back. The Tachyon oracles. All
Fire
6 of
Tengu.
them.
Daybreak. Hey, where are these fucking Serbs at? These guys need to eat
Oracles
shit
and
again.
tornadoes. Warped off.
Yeah, they're a bunch of shit cans. Just.
Oops,
We're gonna,
you guys
fire
didn't hear that.
Aurora. We're gonna attention the Serbs
You guys
again.
didn't hear that. I get a little excited sometimes. I'm not trying to taunt anybody. I'm too lazy to edit it out. I'm not.
Local targets. Fire in Claudia. Fire in Claudia. So faxes are stable.
Yep.
Alright.
Barely holding capacitor though.
Secondary
I'm reloading
Serb.
my
Secondary
Ansel.
Serb. Double optimal, guys. Double optimal. Alright, fire.
I do like to remind people of scripts even if we haven't changed them. New people come. Sometimes people mess up. You just remind people. Odds are the 5% people who are doing it wrong will switch if you just remind people mid-fight
Fire in
about
LL.
stuff like that.
Fire in LL Serb. Secondary Amira.
They're going along this line. I should be going along this line too. It puts us away from our 2 faxes that are positioned right here, but nah. Fax range is long. 50 kilometer in
Fire
armor.
in Amira.
Armor
Fire in Amira.
supremacy. Might as well. Yeah, so now I'm going to be going
Secondary
along the
Serb.
opposite line. But the Zealot tracking and Demos tracking are pretty good on these hacks.
Standard,
so
guys.
I,
Standard. We don't
so
really have
even
good
though
transversal to
it's
do that.
bad, I'm kind of understanding to it. Even though I guess I did just reset it. Yeah, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. And also, by doing this stupid dance I'm doing, we're clicking there and then there, it's dropped our speed so low that we could actually be losing hacks right now to a coordinated fire.
Jerry, fire in Jerry. Fire in Jerry.
But there's also
Standard.
only like 10 Serbs left. We've really done a number on them.
We're splitting.
Secondary Serb.
So
Once
they're
twisted,
starting
once
to
you're
burn in
one
like
reload
this,
it,
so
then
now
you're
we're
free to go
following
second.
that same line.
Fire in Pajan.
Let me get him out first.
Fire in Daverin. Fire in Daverin. Fire in Daverin. Secondary. I think they're about to starburst. They're eating shit.
These
Secondary
battle
broadcast.
cruisers are in range. These battle cruisers are in range.
Yeah, so the Tachyon oracles
Yeah.
come in, and even though they don't really pose any threat to us, they're right there, and we can basically alpha Tachyon oracles because nobody would fit tank to a Tachyon oracle. I should be calling free fire on oracles. I
Guys,
broadcast
I'm gonna
several.
broadcast some oracles. Just fucking free fire Aurora. Free fire Aurora on oracles and broadcasting.
I think it's a fair. No, I take it back. I think it's fair, because if you call complete free fire an oracle, you're gonna see some people be delayed on activating their guns because some people don't know how to find them on their overview. Which, when you have 80 ships on your overview, it is kind of hard. So it's not too bad to do that. I'd be support as long as people are cycling their guns on oracles. It's a
Fucking
good
light
thing.
them all up. Light them all up.
22% left on the structure. Just a heads up.
I kind of don't want to finish it.
Yeah, so you can hear me say that. I didn't really want to finish the structure. I mean, they're staying for as long as the structure is alive, I think. So
Get another sign up. That's it, so I don't overdo it.
Then I'll mutiny you and take the fleet over.
All right.
Don't wanna
Good
get-
job, guys. Good job.
so the Tachyon oracles are
Okay.
bailing.
Grind continues. Look up this
Serb
Loki.
down there.
Look up this. Broadcast the Serb. Broadcast the Serb. Let's do Serb then Loki. Serb then Loki.
I would tell
Sir.
people unlock this Loki broadcast. This guy's gonna have too much time to broadcast it for reps for us this even to be a valid primary anymore. And also the Lokis have shown to be the hardest thing on this grid for us to break. So this is just a terrible broadcast.
Actually, unlock the Loki. Unlock the Loki.
There we go. I'm glad I did. I listened to myself, guys.
Fire and Duncan.
This sir, just
Aurora,
out of position.
Aurora. Alright, the rest of the Serbs are likely tethering.
Also, just a
Aurora
random
has
prophecy.
prophecy.
I don't know what he's doing, but some DT prophecy is just in the middle of all of it. I love it. That's the Zarvox of that group. He's just getting in there, mate.
Multi on the prophecy. Multi on the prophecy.
I shouldn't be dropping my speed by going away like that. That's a bad move. But I guess it is transversal matching on the Tengus a little bit.
Receptors are going around and killing your drones, by the way.
Okay.
Perma jammed.
Yeah, I've been jammed for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Those poor zealots.
Like one cycle in. And then
All the Serbs are tethered right now. Alright, everyone, lock up this Tengu. Lock up this Tengu.
Transversal's okay. We can probably do it.
Aurora. I don't think we can kill it.
Oh, that up click was terrible. That's actually gonna make transversal worse. So what I should have done is Q click on this line only once. If you don't double click that, if you don't Q then double click, it allows you to up your line. You'd want to so you'd Q here, click up here. That means we're gonna be going along this line, and they're going along this line. So just a small mechanical thing that really does matter. I guess it kind of benefited us because there's a Serb to shoot. He just docked, but.
Yep. Lock up the Loki.
This Micah, we've tried to get this guy so many times. This isn't one of the Logi ones, I don't think. I think this was just a regular HML web Loki.
Let's give him some heat damage.
He's way off anchor, so I'm like, let's just get him.
Heat on this Loki. Heat on this Loki. Heat on the Loki. Really good transversal.
That's what happens when you get transversal, is you just nuke stuff.
Good job.
Especially on these 100 men T3s.
Lock up this Tengu. Lock up this Tengu. Lock and fire.
So another thing, I should be adjusting my transversal now. You can't be late on this. This is the thing that I see a lot of nullsec FCs struggle on a lot, is they don't attempt to have foresight on the transversal that they're going to need. I should be already preparing to get my transversal to go down. They're on this line. We need to be moving down on this line. Yeah, we're going to drop speed a little bit, but the Serb fleet's ruined, so we kind of just need to focus on just maximizing our damage, because we've shown we can tank the Tengus.
We got load X-ray. Load X-ray. X-ray on Wildbagger. X-ray on Wildbagger.
Also, they're kind of leveling out. Yeah, they're leveling out a little bit on the transversals. That was really good for us.
X-ray.
So now I need to be exactly. These guys, this is the anchor. So if these guys are going along this path, then we need to start going on this path immediately. And the first broadcast, while we're adjusting, is going to be kind of hard. This is the anchor, so I suspect he would get repped just fine.
Secondary Tengu. Secondary Tengu.
It's always good to shoot guys in the back of 100 men fleets.
Secondary Tengu.
Also, the guys at the front here, we're still adjusting our transversal, so it is a bit hard to shoot the guys in the front because we're not at our full speed yet. So shooting the guys in the back will be easier with the transversal that's available.
Red cycle, red cycle, red cycle. Swap on nudes.
Then I should be broadcasting a different guy likely in the back.
Nudes, Tengu.
Either a recon or a Tengu.
Secondary after that.
We're not going to get better positioning than this. These guys are in multi-frequency range. We're at perfect lines of transversal.
That is this Tengu, secondary Tengu.
Yeah, I should just be going through Tengus alone.
Jump, fire in Tengu. Fire in Tengu.
Logi, if you have damage drones, put them on the frigates around us.
God, look at that. Look at the
Secondary
chunking.
Loki,
This is what happens when you can just get perfect conditions.
Give it heat, or good job. X-ray on Sergeant, X-ray on Sergeant.
I almost want to say I should use standard just to keep things everybody reliably in range.
Social right now, so this is like gonna be like a feed for them. Secondary broadcast, Tengu or Razu. Secondary Razu. Secondary Razu.
Yeah, these Lokis, they're hard to break.
Structure so we don't lose any facts.
I think our fax pilot thought that this was an anti-cap fit. It's not.
All right, we're gonna pull back. Fire in the Athenor, guys. Fire in the Athenor. Load multi. We're gonna pull back to the fax.
So I did something that's a little bit lazy here. I just clicked this way. In order to not fully nuke your speed at 130 down there, I should be doing a gradual. You can Q click here. That'll get your speed to half and not 0, and then you slowly turn in. Or you can do a more gradual turn like this. When you just double click backwards, the entire fleet stops. And when you're fighting a fleet where the majority of how you tank is going to be your damage mitigation, that's a problem. That's just pure laziness. Oh no!
Titan, get ready.
Fuck me, what have I done? Guys, I did something bad. I did something bad. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Computers. Load Aurora.
Yeah.
Lock up this Tengu. Lock up this Tengu.
Yeah, we shot him already.
He's only.
Neri Amira.
C base being nasty yellow box.
I think we were. Okay, so this is when we shot the oracles.
Multi.
We just shot the prophecy.
Hey, this Loki. Broadcast is way behind.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you
Lock up the
want,
Loki. Lock up the
he's
Loki.
That's Mind Killer. Yeah, we did him. Video's almost over. Yeah, so this is where we were. I'm gonna back up 10 seconds. This is where we left off. I don't know how I clicked out of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the Serbs come back. I didn't even notice, to be honest. And this is why I actually have someone's job it is for me, who kind of conceptualizes and understands fleet matchups, to just watch the grid for me and call things out. Because if I'm focused on our transversal, focused on target calling, I don't really have the mental fortitude to do that and watch the grid. And watch the grid is just to look for opportunities, look for threats, look at D-scan, look at local spikes. I have someone who I forced to single box or dual box just a links tune, who doesn't really need to be looked at if he's just on the watch list once he fires his links, to just look at the grid. And just for my own organizational sanity, I find that to be so helpful, because that way I understand specifically what I need to do, and I know I can trust someone to call stuff out like that. Ketsuru always does a great job for that for me, as well as Alazar.
Aurora. Put your drones on
and
the structure.
Ergonal. Those three have been pretty critical for me. I'm gonna give Don't Mess a shout out too in my group. He does a great job sceptering and scouting and just looking at stuff for me. If you don't know, Control Shift Click will unlock targets like that. So there we go. Again, proper. That's how you properly move your transversal. Got to use Q click if you don't.
Double optimal. Secondary J-Lo.
Cat boosters here.
Secondary J-Lo.
I almost want to say we should be heating on these broadcasts, because these Serbs are likely going to be leaving soon. If we heat throughout every broadcast, then we'll likely get an extra kill, because the kill time will be quicker.
You don't have a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Can I steal some?
Yeah.
Lock and fire in Viscera if J-Lo is not.
Also, we're now out of damage range with these Tengus again, so
Viscera, if he's still there.
These are kind of just free Serb kills. They kind of shouldn't be here right now.
That's better.
That's loaded.
However, when you are coordinating with two different fleets on like a joint Discord or something like that, that stuff is hard. I'll give him credit. Like, it's not easy.
Lokis and Tengus are out of range, so kill the Serb and then shoot the structure.
Oracle's the back.
Alright.
They're
They're out of range. They're out of range.
They actually are not. They're in deep fall off, but with no tank, I could just call free fire oracles and we'd get some hits.
Alright, shoot the structure. Shoot the structure. Everyone on the structure.
It's far, but we could do it.
Well, that is like a full cargo bay worth.
So now, I think I'm slowly approaching the Tachyon oracles.
Kill. He's fine.
Oh no. I'm dumb.
Damage capping?
I got pinged and I was like, oh, I gotta look at it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nothing.
Fucking wow bagger had me jammed.
Yeah, so at this point, I underestimated our ranges. We could be alphaing the remaining oracles over there right now, and I just whiffed.
Please be ready. I'm slow boating us into Oracle range. Just be ready. Don't do it yet. Guys, sort by type. Sort by type.
Oh, I should have shot that Nestor. I never noticed him. They have a Nestor. Dude, I wonder if it's a Tachyon Nestor. Because then, oh, that would be so cool. Just because it's got the optimal range bonus. It's not good, but it is cool.
Not yet. Nobody do it yet. Little Aurora.
Oh, that's my ping.
Guys, what's your Aurora fall off? Aurora fall off range? With double optimal?
132.
I should have just called it.
What?
Alright, back on the structure. Back on the structure. If you weren't.
I just gotta ping something to my people for a second.
Alright, sorry about that, guys.
One, your impulse decloaked.
No,
More
no,
dead
it's capped up.
Alright.
More dead terrorist guys are reshipping an Amar and coming back.
I can
God,
cap up
I
easy
hope
enough.
so. Like,
It's the third Serb I've seen coming back from Amar.
One, your impulse gonna get tackled.
Your impulse decloaked,
No,
but
it's not.
We still got someone here to scoop loot. Not too concerned about it.
alright, I'm gonna stop.
Pax
I'm
is
gonna stop looking at
not
Discord. Really in range, so I mean, if you wanted to go red, like, okay, someone's warping.
No, Nazu's out right now.
Yeah, I got 1
just
minute left.
keep it out of siege, but just kind of hang out. These guys are fucking leaving. Yeah, well, that's kind of the end of the fight. So, oh, I'm sorry, Discord pings. Let me just mute Discord real quick. I swear, I just clicked the mute. Alright, so looking at the final BR, obviously this looks heavily in our favor. And overall, we did pretty good. We lost about 7 hacks, a couple guardians here and there, a couple recons. We only got a couple T3s, but overall, it was a really fun fight. Thank you so much to Shadow and Dude Cartel for bringing it. And look at this stupid message. Overall, we did pretty good. And thank you to Shadow and Dead Terrorist for bringing the fight. Wow, this was I forgot how much. So kind of some lessons learned in there. I likely should have refit a SIBO to the Zealots once we. I go back and forth on it because as SIBO, it really helps the jam percentage. So likely it was a good thing to do once the Tangus came in, but you do lose a lot of range. Being able to shoot 130 with Aurora is a big deal. You have 110 kilometers with double tracking computers. And then, yeah, a couple other highlights. Looking at the Tachyon beam, I love it. I love it. I really wish we got the Nestor so we could just look at the fit. But anyways, we can stop it here. And just say thank you so much to these guys for the fight. I love it. I hope we get to do it more. It's stupid. One day, we're gonna go into a world where I'm just gonna have all that stuff muted and turned off with all the notifications. But let's stop it here. Thank you so much to everyone for the fight. Thank you everyone for watching. I know I basically just blabbered on about the importance of transversal. And yeah, let's call it here. Have a great day, guys.